Shalom Aleichem. Es ist wunderbar zu sehen einen gepackten Saal. It's wonderful to see a full house. My name is Alman Lutek. I'm the artistic director of the National Yiddish Theater Volksbühne. Tomorrow, April 19th, marks the 75th anniversary of the uprising in the Jewish ghetto of Warsaw, Poland. Once the city with the largest number of Jews, over 375,000 women, men, and children before the war. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was the 1943 act of Jewish resistance that arose in German-occupied Poland during World War II and which opposed Nazi Germany's final effort to transport the remaining ghetto population to Treblinka. The uprising started on April 19th when the ghetto refused to surrender and ended on May 16th after the Nazis burned the ghetto down block by block. Tonight, we will be transported back in time, not to Warsaw, but to the city of Lodz, the second largest concentration of Jews in Poland and the second largest Jewish ghetto population in German-occupied Europe. More than 160,000 Jewish people were trapped in the Lodz Ghetto, and thousands would be deported and murdered at Chelmno and Auschwitz. We were asked by the museum about a year ago if we knew of a musical program that could illuminate and enhance the extraordinary collection of Henryk Ross photos from the Lodz Ghetto upstairs. Henryk Ross was confined to the Lodz Ghetto in Poland in 1940 when he was put to work by the Nazi regime. For nearly 4 years, Ross used his official position as cover, endangering his own life to covertly document the lives of others. Sometimes forced to conceal his camera in his overcoat, Ross took photographs to record the horrors and complexities of life in the Lodz Ghetto and to preserve evidence of Nazi crimes. As the liquidation of the ghetto began, Ross buried an astonishing 6,000 negatives near his home, committing to the ground and perhaps to future generations, quote, some record of our tragedy. Henryk Ross survived, and in March of 1945, he unearthed his work with his own hands. Almost 3,000 negatives had survived the Polish winter. The exhibit upstairs, Memory Unearthed, the Lodz Ghetto photographs of Henryk Ross, reveals more than 200 of Ross's photographs, supplemented by artifacts and testimony and presented in the context of Lodz Ghetto history. The exhibition offers a rare learning experience that is also an opportunity to remember and honor the victims of Nazi atrocities. And so when asked by the museum for a program that might accompany such an important work, I immediately thought of my Landsmann, my friends of Brave Old World, the internationally known musical ensemble. These 4 artists from around the globe, where they now reside, Berlin, Edinburgh, Chicago, and San Francisco, will bring these photographs and this moment in history to life with their program Songs of the Lodz Ghetto, a piece we at the Volksbühne had the pleasure of presenting a few years ago at the Triad Theater. My relationship with the Brave Old World spans a few decades with friendships and collaborative projects. The Washington Post called them, quote, the klezmer revival's first supergroup. Every player is a virtuoso. You will hear that tonight. I would like to thank the Museum of Jewish Heritage where we are today. 20 years ago, the Museum of Jewish Heritage, a living memorial to the Holocaust, was dedicated by survivors. Since then, the museum has welcomed more than 2 million visitors to our Battery Park City home, emerged as the primary resource in New York for teaching and learning about the Holocaust, and taken its place as the 3rd largest Holocaust museum in the world. As a living memorial, one of the museum's sacred mandates is to magnify survivors' voices and preserve their testimonies. When a survivor tells her story, she reasserts the very humanity and dignity that the Nazis attempted to destroy. Tonight's program is presented in partnership with the Battery Park City Authority, and I want to thank Abby Ehrlich for her continued guidance and dedication to making our neighborhood a prime destination for artistic engagement and public programming. We also want to welcome the Battery Park City residents, our neighbors, in tonight's audience. Finally, I want to thank my colleagues, my CEO, Chris Massimine, and our associate artistic director, Muttal Didner, Sean Patrick, Jamie Beth Margulies, and many people of our staff that made tonight's program possible. I'm almost done. It is through this, the music, the photographs, the writings, and the art that we can get some kind of sense of humanity that was lost among the more than 6 million Jews who were murdered by the Nazis. Listen to the words, the determination to live under the most horrific circumstances. Hear the music that was sung and created in the ghetto itself, and in doing so, bear witness to the resilience and perseverance of the Jewish people and human spirit. There are CDs of this concert outside. Please turn off your cell phones. There will be a talkback with the artists immediately after the concert. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alan Byrne, Kurt Björling, Michael Alpert, Stu Brotman, Brave Old World.
Mir alle seinen gebench mit Chaim leila Mufes. Chaim von Beisa Chaim, Rumkoski Chaim mit sein größten Ness. Macht dich nicht immer jeden Tag so gewollt zu schreien, oi, oi, oi. Jede eine Fried, a zweite Schale, oi. Sogt der Chaim, es gibt das oi. Chaim Weizmann hat gesagt, will die Jiden in Palästina haben. Hat sei geheißen, Aktien sehen, hat sei dort die Bagruben. Aber in der Chaim Urmkowski Chaim, geht uns jeden Tag schreien. Eine Mastig Bräut, in zweiten Mastig verhört, mehr liegt bei Moje tiefen Brett. Der dritte Chaim, den Bisa Chaim, hat mit Malchem Moses ein Geschäft gemacht. Sollen sie stellen bei ihm was mehr, sollen sie stellen bei Tag bei Nacht. Und das im Malchem nur genommen, sie die Arbeit schnell, macht den Geber ein Feuertel, macht es flink, macht es gut, macht die ganze Welt schwach in mich. Meine Winde Chaim, geht in Chaim, geht in Zofen, geht in Wein, heißt nicht kommen in den
like tzadikim, I call it in the Yeshua, behold like tzadikim. Oy khusn kalamazel tov, in al machetun mazel tov, in alle gesta mazel tov, in a mazel tov, in al chachum mazel tov, in al chavayin mazel tov, in al yidna mazel tov, in a mazel tov. Bundisten a mazel tov, in a shomer atzayir a mazel tov, in al chavayim a mazel tov, in a mazel tov, in al machetunim a mazel tov, in kol yidn a mazel tov, in kol Yisroel a mazel tov, in a mazel tov. In he, so wäre nur gespielt, noch a herzigen mazel tov, lekovat alla Lodz, in für alle Warschauer, in für alle Wilner, in für alle Bialystoker, in für alle Krukewer. In so san Tage Schulen auf der ganzen Welt, jeden ist Klezmer gegangen. Aber das war ja sagen, hopp, 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 jeszcze raz grajcie, ładnie. Schippe de Woi, ich gehe auf den Bogen. Schippe de Woi, ich will dir etwas suchen. Schippe de Woi, es ist eine scheine Welt. Heute hat die Mama, Bube sei, der Gäst mit Chaneke Geld. In Heisch, liebe Menschen, heiert gibt man Wort ein, weil sie du noch Hand auf der Welt, schon noch einmal, also viel Hass, also viel Sinne, in so viel Pein, so viel Malchume, in so viel Neud, Menschen, wo's leben und Hoffnung in einem Bereut. Und wenn der Mann sich in die Gedoyshim auf der Schule, die Verpeinigte, in der Mordete, in Blitten, in Schmarz, die sich mit heißen Tränen begießen, man klezmerische Haare. Klezmer, lass mal spielen auf einen Dix. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Malchum hat ungefangen, nicht gewähnt, Kastikolatie. Jeder lach ob Mungi, mit der Spekulatie. Es ist bald geworden ein Mangel für silberdrobene Geld. Gewalt jeden mir ob Malchum auf der ganzen Welt. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Nicht du kein Mensch auf der Welt, was weint nicht von dem Churben. Meine Schwester Safrandine ist euer gefallener Kurben. Hier sei das Bild von meinen Augen, der Himmel verlackert erreut. Setz! A Schrapnel ist geflogen. In Tracht das Meidl etoit. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Einer fällt von Bixen, schoss der zweite von Schrapnellen. Jetzt sehen die Menschen, wie es wird von der Gewirratell. Es geht da jeder Fabrikant, heu mit der Grobbenboe. Trach, a Bombe ist gefallen. Ois Fabrikant, Bläuse Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid, sing ich mir das Lied. Weil ich bin a Jidale, sing ich mir das Lied alle. Weil ich bin a Jid. Siz kaydankes kayten. Siz gittet Zaten. Keiner tut sich Hand nicht schämen, jeder will doch Hand noch nehmen. Abizis an du saat. Nächten alle Weihe gewesen, a Geschrei. Mit a Gule Ganuvim sich gegeben a gitten drei. Hoi Menschen viel mit Schreck, 3 Meisim wären geil. Sis kam Meisim gut gewesen, nur 3 Säck mit Mehl. Sis kein Dankeskeiten, sie doch geht die Zaten. Keiner tut sich hat nicht schämen, jeder will du heit noch nehmen. A bitzi zan du zat. Zgam vet moish, zgam vet chayim, zgam vet oich en Isl. Oi mit Yadayim nehmt men schreien, fin dem coole Schissel. A viele Pessel fin dem Kessel nehmt oich arup. Jeden Tag oi gießt men Wasser. Das ist unsere Suppe. Sie ist kein Dankeskeiten. Sie doch geht jetzt Zaten. Keiner tut sich hat das schämen, jeder will du Hand noch nehmen. A bitzi zan du zan. Kein Dankeskeiten. Sie doch gitte Zaten. Keiner tut sich Hand nicht schämen, jeder will du Hand noch nehmen. A bitzi zan du zat. Rumkowski sagt, Hittach viel Ganuvim, ich will euch arrestieren. Ich will die ganze Ghetto auf eigene Hände führen. In eurer Brief kooperativ, alles in einem Blatt. Es ist viel Messi, viel Tanesi, wer es hein da sagt, oh, hätte viel ganz. Kein Dankeskeiten. So doch Tage gibt es Zaten, wuss? Keiner tut sich hat nicht schämen, jeder will du hat noch nehmen. Jidlalach, Schwesterlach und Briderlach, Kimsen Herzes neue Lied wegen Chaim. Chaim Arichim, Chaim shel Shuloim, Chaim shel Teuve, Chaim shel Bruche, Chaim shel Penuse. Rumkowski Chaim mit seinem größten Ness. Jidlalach, sind wir gebencht mit Chaim, Chaim le'olam muves, Chaim fin Beisa Chaim, Rumkowski Chaim mit sein größten Ness. Macht doch ein Nissimoi, jeden Tag azoi, gewalt sich schreien, oi, oi, oi. Jeder eine fragt, a zweite Schale, oi. Sogt doch Chaim, es ist Gitta soi, weil es in sich Chaim, geht ins Klein, geht ins Gruppen, geht ins Wahn. Verzahlt uns jeden mitbegegessen Mann, Hand esche jede Wab ihr Mann. Rumkowski Chaim und geht Gitteracht, Gier beschwer, Batug Banacht, gemacht a Ghetto mit a Dietto, in schreit gewalt ist geracht. Chaim Weizmann hat gesucht, als will die Jiden in Palästina oben. Hat sei geheißen, Acker seien, hat sei dort tief begraben. Aber in so Chaim, Rumkowski Chaim, geht in sie jeden Tag schreien. Einem ein Stück Bräut, dem zweiten ein Stück feiert. Hat die ganze Ghetto tief dreht, weil es in sich Chaim, geht ins Klein, geht ins Gruppen, geht ins Patsch mit. Retten jeden Gästen mit dem Mann, und es schon jede Wab ihr Mann. Rumkowski Chaim hat Gitterach, gearbeitet schwer, Tag bei Nacht, gemacht a Ghetto mit a Dietto, in schreit gewalt ist gerade. Dabei Schmilke. Hopp, hopp, Schmilke, jeszcze razek, noch einmal. Freut sich jeder lach. Chaim weiß, gewinn als über Tug, gewesen ist a Tug a Hayesor. In a Geit Rumkowski in der Gas, seht doch aus wie a Hayesor. A heile Anzigoi, in dunkle Brillen, Polizei, a Rimbawacht. Ihr sogar gewer in der Kaiser und grue Huer. Eu Leben soll der ganze 100 Jahr, weil es in der Chaim, geht ins Klein, geht ins Gruppen, geht ins Wahn. Verzatten's jeden mitbegegessen Mann, Hand ist schon jede Wab ihr Mann. Rumkowski Chaim und Gitracht, die Arbeit schwer, Tag bei Nacht. Gemacht a Ghetto mit a Dietto, in schreit Gewalt, ist geracht. Was gibst du Ketzerle, oi Beugis, was Geister, Rogge Lust in du es, komm willst du wissen, wie dein Ich ist. Will ich dir suchen Ketzerle, oi dus, oi, 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 komm willst du wissen, wie dein Ich ist. Will ich dir suchen Ketzerle, oi dus, dann is a Schmaroznik, da Mame gart Fische Marek, in dein Bride oi is a Kartjoznik, oi in dein Schwester schlut mit a Kozak, oi, 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 in dein Bride a größer Kartjoznik, oi in dein Schwester schlut mit a Kozak. Die Mame liegen im Besäulen. Der Bruder ist weggeschickt. Die Schwester Krankheit angebeugen. Ihr Rabbin von Hunger zugedreht. In Stub, nicht da, kein Löffel essen, kein Bräut, kein Mädel, sieht man nicht. Zu kein hab ich schon vergessen. In a leidig Puste ist der Tisch. Es ist in Himmel Kerachmones. Der Soten steht dort in der Lacht. Von die Säumen in Almones. In Lodz Ghetto zugemacht. Ich gehe sich wie ein Alter. Die Augen sind nass in der Reut. Der Himmel finster ist a kalter. In der Morgen komme Wetter toi. Macht sie die Eigelach, ot kommen Feigelach, in Krasen sich herum, sie koppens von dein Weg, das Päckl in der Hand, das Haus in Asch und Brand. Mir losen sich mein Kind, sichen Glück, die Welt hat Gott vermacht. Nehme dem ist Nacht, sie wart auf uns mit Scheider, mit Scherek. Mir stehen beide du in a schwerer Schuh, in a weißen nicht wie es wird der Weg. not in the naked blois, verjuckt von unser Haus. In finsterer Nisch, vertrieben in sein Feld, in sturem Hugelwind, hat ins begleit mein Kind, begleit in seinem Upgerind, fina der Welt, in sturem Hugelwind, hat ins begleit mein Kind, begleit in seinem Upgerind, fin der Welt. To sing mein Fiedele, spiel mein Fiedele, wie verehrt hat nicht gespielt keiner. Und singe mir zu, a schein golese Liedl, mit a Bänkschaft arena. Tecke, sehe ich Peter Margarin, ich im Eufen, nicht tut sie kaufen, nimmt a Wiese noch Marishi. Jecke mit der Tecke, sehe ich Peter Margarin, ich im Eufen, ich tut sie kaufen, nimmt a Wiese noch Marishi. geht a jecke mit a tecke, sehe ich Peter Margarin. bist im Eufen, nicht du zu kaufen, nimmt a Wiese noch mal richtig. Es geht a Jecke, mit a Tecke, sehe ich Peto Margarin, bist im Eufen, nicht du zu kaufen. Nimmt a Wiese noch mal Wer klappt du hast so spät bei Nacht? Jankerle Bulanschik, oi effen Bronschale, ich bin doch dein Kochanschik. Oi effen Bronschale, ich bin doch dein Kochanschik. Wie kann ich dir schon öffnen? Ich hab Meure vor den Taten. Oi effen Bronschale, sie wird dir gut nicht schatten. Oi effen Bronschale, sie wird dir gut nicht schatten. Wer klappt du so spät bei Nacht? Jankerle Bulanschik. Oj, otwiesz, Bronschale, ja jestem twój kochanczyk. Otwiesz, Bronschale, ja jestem twój kochanczyk. Kann ich dir schon öffnen? Hab Meure vor der Mamen. Oi, effen Bronschale, in Lommel sein zusammen. Oi, effen Bronschale, in Lommel sein zusammen. Wer klappt du so spät bei Nacht? Es klappt die Ghetto hingach. Oi, effen a Provisatiale, se wird mir wehren gringach. Oi, effen a Provisatiale, se wird mir wehren gringach. Wer klappt du so spät bei Nacht? Es klappt die Ghetto-Laden. Oi, effen a Provisatiale, ich will es geht behalten. Oi, effen a Provisatiale, ich will es geht behalten. klappt zu Hause spät bei Nacht, es klappt die Ghetto-Laden. Und 3 Jahre in Ghetto, jetzt muss man sich scheiden. 3 Jahre in Ghetto. Ghetto, Ghettonia, Ghettochna kochana, tyś taka malutka i taka szubrana. Wer es hat der Hand der Starke, wer es hat auf sich a Marke, kriegt von Schönsten in von Besten, a viele Aposten euch dem Gresten, wenn die bist intelligent und a Cent. Dreiste der Charim wie a Mess und a Bräut in und a Dress in die singst auf Türkische sich oh yes. Meidler, sich alles schämen, nicht ka Schminke, nicht ka Bremen, nicht ka Tabari, nicht ka Pfaff. Nicht durch keine Ondulatie, nicht ke Mitte ka Kolatie, sei oben zu waschen, nicht ka Seif. Nur Smartvione seid nicht Chichipulkis. Jeder singt mit mir, dem refrain. Oj, oj, ci, którzy mówią po polsku. Ghetto, gettonia, oj, gettochana kochana, tyś taka malutka i taka szubrana. Wer es hat a Hand a Starke, wer es hat auf sich a Marke, kriegt den Schätzten in den Besten, a viele Aposten euch den Resten, wenn du bist intelligent und a Cent. Dreiste dich Harim wie a Mess und a Bräut in und a Dress en die singst auf Türkische sich oh yes. Nicht sorgen, nicht klären, es wird bei uns, gibt noch Wehren, es wird noch Kartoffel euch du sein. Wenn ich in Kurve make, Jonte wird man essen lecker, trinke ihm von groben Karmelwein. Nur es macht wie ohne Seite nicht, Chichipulkis. Und jeder singt mit mir, dem Refrain, oi, oi, oi. Ghetto, gettonia, oi, gettochana kochana, tyś taka malutka i taka szubrana. Wer es hat a Hand a Starke, wer es hat auf sich a Marke, kriegt von Schönsten, nimmt den Besten, a viele Aposten euch dem Gresten, wenn du bist intelligent und a Cent. Dreiste Dach, Arim wie a Mess und a Bräut en und a Dress en die singst auf Türkische sich oi es. Du sorgt nicht jeden in Satz zufrieden, weil unsere Zures will nehmen an Eck, als Gott wird geben, will mir der Leben, will mir alle Jeden, kann Eretz Yisroel weg. Amerika, Amerika. In Satz zufrieden, weil unsere Zures will nehmen an was Gott wird geben, will mir der Leben, will mir alle Jeden in Eretz Yisroel weg. Du sorgt nicht jeden in Satz zufrieden, weil unsere Zures will nehmen an Eck. Als Gott wird geben, will mir der Leben, will mir alle Jiden kann Eretz Yisroel weg. Amerika hat erklärt, macht die Welt bekannt, als England muss umgeben, die Jiden das ganze Land. Mit tanzen alle Gassen, und in die Stieber ist Freilach, als England schreibt sich Winter auf dem neuen Jura Meilach. Versorgt die Schieden, in Satz zufrieden, es ist also geht, als unsere Zores will nehmen an Eck, als Gott wird geben, will mir der Leben, will mir alle Jiden, kann Eretz Yisroel weg. Wir haben schon Aeroplanen, Yiddish Militär, Keulen, Bixen in Harmaten, in Maschinengewehr, mit stark zu kämpfen, als der Arbeiter soll nicht laden neu, als der Hackenschaben, oi wird erst geringer kriegen a Stickel Bräut, mit darf zu kämpfen, stark zu kämpfen, oi als der Arbeiter soll nicht laden neu, mit Tour nicht schwagen, nur Hackenschaben, oi wird erst geringer kriegen a Stickel Bräut, mit darf zu kämpfen, stark zu kämpfen, oi als der Arbeiter soll nicht laden neu, mit Tour nicht schwagen, nur Hackenschaben, oi wird erst geringer kriegen a Stickel Bräut. Ich habe gespielt dort in Deutschland schon öfter einmal. Hamavdil, bin Kiddish lechol. Nur ich schwer bei mein Musik, da hört, was ihr singt, als kein einmal ist mir gewesen, leider dort in Gring. Ich sehe euch bei Nacht, im verrecherte Kneipis, reden die Jungitsch gerät von dem Heim. Ich halt stark von mein Iches, nur ich bin euch mekane. ihr heintige Kinder von nächtigen Feind, weil euch ist die Zukunft ein Land und eine Sprache, des mir halten Stummerei do. To sing mein Fidale, spiel mein Fidale, wie verehrt hat nicht gespielt keiner. Und sing mir zu a scheinen golles Lied mit a Bänkschaft a reine. Trorororororoi, trorororororoi, trorororororoi.
ze Chaim, geht ins Kleim, geht ins Grauhupen, geht ins Wein. Verzeihtens haben die mit Berlin gegessen, man, hinter schon jeder weiter Mann. Rumkost Chaim hat jetzt getracht, die Arbeit schwer bei Tag bei Nacht. Gemacht a Ghetto in a Dieta, in a Schreit gewalt a Risgera.
Well, the first thing that I would like to do is, which I didn't get a chance to do in the show, we didn't, is to thank the house for having us here and thank the wonderful tech people, the sound guy, Daniel, the lighting guy, Zach, and Yiddish Neves, who did the subtitles, the supertitles. They saw all of this show, which is not an easy show to do, for the first time this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Yeah, please move down. And I think they did a great job, and we really felt like we were, supported in a really great way. So we're very open for questions. That's what the purpose of this is. I think there are a couple of mics in the house. Right, there are some mics in the house, and feel free to ask any kind of question that you would like. If we can answer it, we will, and if we can't, we'll just say we can't. But there are no silly questions, whatever you're curious about. There's a question.
We've got one over in the middle first.
Hi, I'm Marcia. I don't have a question. I have a big thank you. I have a big thank you.
You're very welcome.
We have a question over here.
Anytime, Marcia.
Hi, my name is Mia. That was exquisite. Just incredible. I don't know Yiddish very well, but my parents spoke it. And the music, even without the words, is just incredible. So I wanted to know how you all met, because you all seem to resonate so well together, and where you all live.
Well, we met as part of, Stuart and I probably go back the longest, in that we met each other before there was even klezmer music, before there was the klezmer revival. We know each other from around 1976 in Los Angeles, where we both lived. But we have all been part of an amazing international circle of people, many of whom are here tonight, and by the time, a whole circle of people around Yiddish music and the revival of and renaissance of Yiddish culture and Yiddishism. And we, around 1989, we were the people that we wanted to play with and create a band like this. Do you want to say where you live, Stu?
Right. We were on the West Coast. We had colleagues on the East Coast. We were involved in the people that started the Balkan Music Camp, and that attracted some people who thought we could make a klez camp, and that was the people on the East Coast. And we all came together. We passed around cassette tapes of old records that nobody had heard since their grandparents put them in the attic. And we began teaching at that klez camp and found, as Michael said, each other as the people that we wanted to play with. We were on the teaching staff and felt that we had a lot to offer each other and had a lot of time to play together and enjoy the magic of everybody knowing tunes together and making it feel like we had come from there, which in a way we had.
Right, and actually I guess Alan and I knew each other too, but Stuart lives in
Berkeley now.
Yes, formerly of LA. I am formerly of LA, and now I live in a small village on the east coast of Scotland. Not Edinburgh, as was announced, but I can get to Edinburgh in 2 hours.
Chicago. The klezmer world of the 1980s was, at the time it seemed big, but it was a pretty small world. We were all bound to meet each other, one place or time or another, and we did.
Yes, and I live in Berlin. I've been there since 1987. I was into Balkan music before I was into klezmer music, and I met Stuart and Michael at Balkan Camp first. And we're telling this story, the answer to your question, as short as possible, believe it or not, because that's an answer that could go on for days. And it's a very fascinating story, sociologically interesting story, because at these Balkan camps, there were lots of Jewish participants at those camps, but it was considered not okay to be playing klezmer music. You could play Macedonian music, you could play everything, but you couldn't play klezmer music. So there was an interesting consciousness raising that had to happen. It's not at all self-evident that the klezmer music revival would happen. I think it's very much connected to the various kinds of, well, what we were calling consciousness raising in the 1960s. It comes out of that. A certain kind of a sense of awareness, self-awareness, cultural awareness, identification, choosing, deciding that you have the right to understand your own history, not just the way that it is told by the dominant culture and so forth. And that's tricky for Jewish people in the United States because there are so many ways in which we are accepted and assimilated, but then there are also essential ways in which we haven't been. And that makes it, in a way, harder to find the boundary and the surfaces against which to push, I think, than for people who are very obviously not included in dominant culture. But that's the beginning of a long talk.
How did this program happen? How did these songs come together? The ones that are from Lodz, of course, how did the others connect? How did they fit together?
You want to? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start. Back in Gila, you might have seen the name or know her, Dr. Gila Flam of Hebrew University. When she was finishing her PhD at UCLA, which was, and her PhD dissertation became the book Singing for Survival, that these songs and the context of them were documented in. She and I were close friends, and she was living in New York at the time, and said, I'd like to do, as a matter of fact, there's going to be an exhibition at the Jewish Museum in Frankfurt of photographs of the Lodz Ghetto, and I'd like to have an opportunity to do a musical program. And so she gave me the recordings and said, you know, and I said, she said, what would you like, what should we do with this? And my suggestion was, we should do this with Brave Old World. And so it grew from that, and it grew from a rather somewhat ethnomusicological and sort of drier academic, but still musical program in April or May of 1990 at the Jewish Museum in Frankfurt. Went through a lot of permutations since then, and Alan will talk about them.
Yeah, very briefly. It's really a challenge to present this music, I think. And in fact, it raised a really interesting challenge of any kind of a Holocaust program, because we can't represent that. We weren't there. So it felt strange to have this sort of scholarly ethnomusicological distance to this music, which for the people who created it was not at all about distance for them. It was a matter of their survival. And I think we were drawn to that music very, very deeply that way, but it's not possible to do, let's say, a historically authentic version of this music on the stage. There's no way. The context isn't the same. The musical resources aren't the same. We're not under, it's an entirely different thing. So if, let's say, a historically authentic performance is not possible, then on the other side of it, on the extreme other side, you have the danger that, well, aren't you just aestheticizing an experience that one should absolutely not aestheticize? Those are sort of the two poles we tried to negotiate through. And at some point, I think we had the recognition that we couldn't represent the survivors or the people who had gone through that experience, but we could be ourselves trying to approach that. That's what we could be. And that was when the idea of stepping outside of the ethnomusicological distance and just saying, this is our music, this is who we are, we're engaging, we show you pieces of our music. And you can see that it happens many times here that sort of just at the moment that the embrace is about to be complete, something comes and breaks it, right? So that we were already doing that in the mid-1990s. I don't know how many of you know the Jewish museum that was designed in Berlin by Daniel Liebeskind. How many people of you have seen that? Okay, so you might remember that there are these big kind of tears in the surface of it, right? It's damaged. It was built new to look like it was damaged, that there are fissures and breaks and so forth. And we at some point came to feel that exposing those things, the incompleteness, the moving towards but not arriving, and being ourselves in that process was an important way of being authentic for ourselves in this program. And I'm happy to say that, at least this is how I remember this, but we're talking about a long history, that in the beginning, survivors who were in the audience, of course they understood that we were trying to do something that was honoring them and their experience and so forth, but I don't remember people coming up and saying that was so moving. Until we made this move, that we became more ourselves and showed that this program is about trying to come to terms in a way which is impossible to come to terms in something with something that is impossible to come to terms with. So at that point, survivors came up to us and started saying that they felt that was very deeply connected. They connected to us. They felt that we were very honest and giving them something back, and we more or less have continued pursuing that path. Does that make sense to you? Yeah.
Speaking of survivors, we've had several opportunities to perform this for not only individual survivors of the Lodz Ghetto, people who remember these songs, but some significant groups of them. There were a lot of survivors of the Lodz Ghetto in Montreal, in Toronto, and also in Melbourne. But we've never done it in Australia. But I mean, these songs were especially the ones by Yankele Hershkovich, which is most of the material. They were street songs. They were meant to be sung along with, and which is why this is actually the first time in all the years of doing this program that you're the first audience that I've asked to come on, clap along. I've wanted to do it or to get people going, but this is not. It's not sacred material. It is in a certain way, but this was so performing for Lodz Ghetto survivors. There would be people would be singing along, remembering this kind of nudging, women nudging their friends, saying, "Yeah, remember that one?" It's like there's, and it wasn't. This was not only an experience completely of pain and death and suffering, although of course the people that did remember those songs went through an awful lot of that. So.
I love it that so many hands are going up.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay. I wanted to ask about the instruments. Would they have had instruments in the ghetto? How could that be? Because they had so little, and something's that fragile and precious. How could they have that?
Believe it or not, in the Lodz Ghetto, they had an entire symphony orchestra and performed a concert, including some Beethoven overtures. And I'm not sure they were all in the best condition, but they had the instruments and they managed to make them sound.
For a period of time, and then they were taken away. Right? You know, there was a progression in the history of the ghettos and in general, from trying to maintain some sense of normalcy, even though it was not, to then becoming more and more brutal and taking away everything. But there was a period of time, and there were great musicians in the Lodz Ghetto, great musicians. And I found it very, very moving, and it's one of the bitter ironies also of secular Judaism, not only that in the middle of a Nazi-run ghetto, that Jewish musicians wanted to play Beethoven, right? This is a bigger subject. Like all these subjects are big subjects, but I grew up in Bloomington, Indiana, with a bunch of Austrian and Hungarian and German survivors, Jewish survivors at the Indiana University Music School. And they all said, those people who were Nazis, those weren't the Germans. The Germans were Beethoven and Brahms and Schubert, and the people who embraced them, and the Nazis were some absolute aberration. That's how they felt about it. And I think that there was a statement being made by playing Beethoven and Brahms in front, in that position, saying, we are the voice of German culture, not you, the Nazis. Strangely enough, right? Yeah.
I just want to add that this music, the songs from Lodz are, with the exception of one of them, were not about instruments. That's one of the special things about the repertoire from Lodz, is that it really is Yiddish folk material and street songs and so forth. The exception is the song Macht sie die Egelach, which was written in the theater in the Lodz Ghetto while it existed. But this music is, Yiddish traditional singing is traditionally unaccompanied. And so for that, even though all instruments were confiscated after a certain point, singing was the way to do it. And Janka Hershkovich would perform in the street with a box, and et cetera, et cetera. Yes, who was Yaakov?
Thank you. So to kind of riff off of Eve's question, you're performing this ring on the day that we remember the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. You're performing it in a Holocaust museum, and we think about Lodz and how we get across Lodz. And you're performing it to an appreciative audience here in the States. I was wondering if we could riff off what you were saying before of how this would be now received, or how you would perform it in Lodz or in Warsaw or in Krakow or in Lvov, and how this music is gone across and how it's felt by the current people that live there, Jews and non-Jews, how it's seen as something to be carried forward or something to be considered separately.
Well, I think performing Yiddish music in general is very different of course, we've done this a tremendous amount in Europe. It's different in every country or society or even level of the society. So it's very different doing this in Germany than doing it in Poland. And in the Netherlands, yet again, which kind of, I think in Germany, it's of course connected with a huge a huge bundle of national responsibility, guilt, repentance, a desire to do something different. That, I think that's true a lot of places. In Poland, where we haven't performed it as much, I think there's a similar feeling, but of course, there's not the same. I mean, this is, of course, gets onto very contemporary subject. There isn't the same feeling of responsibility for the Holocaust in the same way as one might expect, and so that's. I think it's different if there are audiences. To me, the largest difference is Jewish or non-Jewish in audiences. Ellen, what would you?
Again, a big subject. How is it different? I think that the fact that Brave Old World was able to develop this kind of through composed way of playing a concert, as opposed to telling the audience, this is what we're about to do, translating the song, doing it, stopping, kind of constantly translating ourselves, had a lot to do with, first of all, that a lot of Yiddish can be understood by German audiences, so they could understand quite a bit of what was going on anyway. And then second of all, that German audiences offered us concentration and an open ear and a willingness to listen. Already 25 years ago, at a time when American audiences were much more reluctant to extend that kind of, to have that kind of patience, American audiences, even in the middle of a program like this, would say, well, why aren't they doing Offen Pripyatchik, or why aren't they doing Tumbalaika, or something like that? And something famous. But the audiences in Germany, for obvious reasons, didn't dare, even if they were feeling that, they didn't dare to say something like that. And so it created a space, at a time when Brave Old World, 30 years ago, we would call a synagogue or a Jewish community center, and we would hear, we already had the klezmers here last year. That would mean, call us next year, And it was very difficult to put together a tour to ripen and mature as artists in the United States in those days. And we could get 10, 15 concerts in the space of 2 weeks in Germany and other places in Europe. I think this is Lawrence Glamberg is in the audience, so he shares this experience with us too, that I think European audiences, it gave us the possibility to develop an artistic identity. The most important thing that you can have as a group is the opportunity to play a lot and find out who you are and develop that. Would you agree with that, Lauren? Yeah. Right. Zev Feldman, who is sitting here in the front row, also commented in his great new book about many things, but he mentions about klezmer music, he mentions the central role of Germany, ironically, in creating a space in which there could be the klezmer revival could kind of come into its own as an artistic thing.
We have time for one more question.
Really? Shevet Sukkot. I nominate Shevet.
I think there's someone in the middle who's been.
No, Carol. Okay. Hello? I have, Michael, one question for you and then a general question. Did you speak Yiddish as a child?
Yes.
Okay. And the other question is, I found so fascinating, sort of on a psychological aspect, the songs brought out about corruptions and prostitutions and things that we never talk about of what probably really did happen in the Warsaw Ghetto. So were those particular songs authentic? That was the original type of songs they sang there?
Absolutely. These songs are the songs of the Lodz Ghetto. Yes, absolutely. These are the songs of the Lodz Ghetto, as well as, a couple of, our own musical settings of them, and as well as some of our own music in this. But no, the song material, almost all of it, all but one song was written in the Lodz Ghetto.
No, I find it so fascinating about talking about the corruption and the prostitution.
Yeah, it's well, you know, think about when things get bad. For example, what's happening in the world today. Need I say more?
Yes. It's exactly this program. It's basically a live recording of this program. So I was told that the security people are saying we really have to stop. But it would be nice to continue, but we can't now. But I would like to say before we go, just briefly, hang on one second, I really want to thank the museum, and I want to thank Zalman and the Volksbühne, and I want to thank the Battery Park Authority for bringing us here. For Brave Old World, it's a rare opportunity that we get to come together and play, and it's always very deeply meaningful to us, and in New York, of all places in the world, to come back together. Thank you for all that, and thank you for as an audience. Thanks.